For this video, I want to talk about three different topics, right? Where I'm going to talk about why I play true solo instead of like multiplayer or multi-handed primarily. Uh, Chasing the wow factor, which I'll get into more what that means later. And then finally, I want to give an update about deck building because I did a video a while back and it's a really, it's a highly watched video. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I think my approach to things has changed a bit. Now, I want to point out that with each of these topics, this is not a one-way conversation, right? I also, if you want you to leave a comment down below addressing each of these topics. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings because I'm always interested in hearing on them. And while you're down there, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to hit subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications, all that fun stuff so that you know when new videos come out. And also, there is a join tab out there if you want to support this channel in different ways. Hit the join tab and you can see the different tiers starting at 99 cents to help this channel and gives you different perks and benefits and all that fun stuff. So let's start with the very first topic, which is why I play true solo versus multiplayer, right? And this is one I see a lot online of, people saying, why would you ever play this game true solo? Because you're missing out on so much. And the arguments basically are you can't really use team up cards. Certain heroes and villains aren't balanced well for true solo. And I don't disagree. I think that's true. I think team up cards are really hard to use in true solo. I feel like Rhino, right, is a perfect example of a true solo villain that's really difficult that I don't think is supposed to be that hard. I think for certain heroes like Thor or Valkyrie, Hulk to a point, that they're meant more for multiplayer games than they're meant for true solo games. And I get all that argument to it. For me, the big reason of why I enjoy playing true solo over multiplayer is due to time, right? So for me to play a game, one hero gets one villain, probably takes me about 20 to 30 minutes. And I like that because then after I play that game, I can go, okay, how am I going to tweak this deck, right? How am I going to make things a bit better? And it gives me a lot of time and ability to kind of change things around and adapt to things. Or maybe I didn't like a modular set that was with a villain. I can quickly switch that out or try expert instead. When I do this on multiplayer, right, two-handed, it takes me forever, right? It takes me an hour and a half to play a game, and that's a really long time for Marvel Champions. Now, when it comes to Arkham Horror, Lord of the Rings, I actually prefer multi-handed play. Lord of the Rings, I'm about 50-50, but Arkham Horror, I only want to play two-handed or maybe more. But I don't ever really want to play true solo Arkham Horror because I feel like you're missing out on such a large part of the game. For Marvel Champions, I don't mind missing out on just the team up cards, right? I don't mind if things are slightly out of balance for Marvel Champion. That doesn't bother me too much because it's good enough for what it is. And I think it's pretty well balanced in general. So I'm not that upset with things. So for me, it really comes down to a time aspect, and it comes about just being enjoyable, right? I enjoy customizing the decks and tweaking them. That's a part of the excitement and joy of this game. And if I'm playing a game that's 2-3 times longer than what I'm used to, then I can't tweak and adjust as much as I could, right? Now, I still enjoy playing a game multiplayer, right? I do like doing that. I don't like playing two-handed solo. I don't think it's that much fun or that interesting to me. No knock on anyone that does it. It's cool that you do, but it's just not for me personally. So this is the first topic. Let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you enjoy playing this game true solo? Do you only play it multiplayer? Do you only play it multi-handed, right? How do you play this game, or at least enjoy this game the most? The next thing I want to talk about is chasing the wow factor. So if you watch any of my videos previously to this, you always notice that pretty early on in the video, I talk about how are they pushing design, right? Because that's what I want the most. I want them to be pushing design boundaries a little bit further at a time. I don't want them to go crazy right off the bat, but just, push the boundaries a little bit more out. And I feel like the last time this was really done to like a significant degree successfully was Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, when she first came out, I know she's kind of an older hero now, and maybe a lot of people don't remember this as much, or they weren't into the game at the time. But when Scarlet Witch came out, there was so much hype and intrigue around her with the way she worked, right? People were kind of blown away by the idea of using the encounter deck's icons, right? And thinning out the encounter deck faster, but the trade-off being you can get an acceleration token sooner. So it was this true balance of like, okay, you have a lot of power, it's a lot of fun to use, but if you overdo it, it's going to be detrimental to you. The idea of balancing it out was so unique, so interesting, and so different. And now we look back on it and we go, oh yeah, that's nothing that's special, right? That seems pretty normal what they would do. But at the time, it was this big thing that everyone talked about and was super hyped about. And I think personally, that's why Scarlet Witch remains my number one hero, right? To this day. It was the last time I was truly wowed by this game, hero-wise. Let me point out hero-wise. I think villain-wise, they're doing really great stuff on that side. But hero-wise, I feel like it's the last time I've been really, like I said, blown away and truly impressed with what they're doing. Since then, there's been some good heroes, but I feel like nothing as exciting as that, right? I feel like there's a few times when people got really hyped about like Adam Warlock, right? People got really hyped about Adam Warlock because the idea of being able to use all 4 aspects on paper is a really cool idea. And then when it came into practice, it was okay, right? I mean, Adam Warlock is still a fine hero, but I feel like it dropped off for a lot of people because it's not that exciting. It's not, when you actually go through building it, Brian V, in my opinion, still made the perfect deck for Adam Warlock, and it's kind of done. It's figured out. Why do that much else with him? And it's kind of a pain to deck build for him. I think that's also another part of it. But I think Warlock was one that people expected to be this big hype hero that didn't live up to expectations. Again, Adam Warlock's not a bad hero. It just, I feel like there was a lot of hype for him, and it kind of fell short there. Going right along with that, I think Star-Lord was kind of like that too, where people like the idea of, okay, you got a face down counter card to be putting in a 3-cost card for free is a really kind of neat idea, but when it was actually put into practice, you realize you couldn't really do it that often because getting 2 encounter cards every single round was really bad. So you couldn't really do it that often. So it was cool when it actually did work and you got 3 face down encounter cards and then you could do like this giant attack, right? That was cool and it worked out neat. But it never felt quite the same. I definitely see with the community because a lot of people just kind of are whatever about Star-Lord, right? He's not as exciting, as interesting. I think the Web Warriors, have been the last time when the design has really kind of been close to the wow factor, which for me was Spider, right? Penny Parker. I think that design, when I first saw on paper, was like, okay, I don't really get it. And then when you actually see it in practice, you're like, oh, this is pretty sweet. This is pretty cool. And unfortunately for me, since Scarlet Witch, with the exception of maybe Penny Parker, I feel like I haven't gotten to experience another time when this game just like blew me away with hero design. Now, again, there have been well-designed heroes. I think most of the X-Men heroes so far are pretty well designed. I've enjoyed them. I'm still holding out hope for either Storm or Wolverine or possibly Gambit design. They all intrigue me, and I think they could be really interesting. I think Gambit, especially with the idea of being able to thwart more on the alter ego side, I think is pretty interesting. We'll see how it works in practice. Storm with the weather cards and how that actually works, I think could be really interesting. So I'm not like giving up hope on this or saying it's doomed or whatever. But it is one of those things that I hope to kind of have that feeling once again, right? I kind of hope to be like, wow, this design was like really well done. So that leads it to the second point is, when was the last time that the hero design kind of like really blew you away? Which is like, I can't believe they thought of this. The way that this works is so intriguing. Like it's so much more than I thought it was going to be or whatever else, right? Make sure to comment below. And I will quick note on the villain side, I think they're still crushing it, right? I still think like Mansion Attack is a much better design than I thought it was going to be, and it's really great. Hela is a fantastic design. I think Thanos is a great design, right? Like Sandman, even I think is really cool with the indirect damage thing. The Venom with the belt, like Mysterio. I think they're all really good designs on the villain side. I think they continuously each scenario box improve it and just make it better and better and better. But it's really on the hero side I wanted to focus on with that. All right, the last thing is, if you don't know, one of my most popular videos, I think it's one of my most popular videos, is how to deck build for Marvel Champions. And this is one of the first videos on this channel. If you watch it, it's hard for me to watch because the technology is a bit older, the lighting is really bad, like the cameras, but like everything's bad in it. But it's one of my most popular videos. And I want to do another video that kind of like expand upon it and talk about the changes that I made to it. But I'll be honest, it's a little tough right now because I feel like my deck building approach has changed a lot, and it's very kind of weird to really nail down. And I'm still trying to figure out to make it work. But in that video, I talk about how for each hero, you should kind of like lean into the hero aspect, or I'm sorry, the hero cards, right? Whatever the hero cards are and whatever aspect you pick, lean into it and kind of like complement it, right? And at the time, we had a much smaller villain pool. We had a much smaller player card pool. And that was kind of my general approach, and it worked well, right? I could win on expert. I could beat most of the hardest villains, whatever else. Nowadays, I feel like I'm deck building differently. I feel like, yes, I still pick a hero I want to play, but then before I deck build anything with them, I pick a villain. And I say, okay, this is the villain. This is what the villain does, right? This is what they're all about. And then I pick an aspect I think can handle it, and then pick cards that work well against that villain. And to me, this has been a big shift of how I play this game. Because again, for so long it was, I'm going to build out all my hero. This is what my perfect hero build's going to be. And then I'll just pick a random villain. It doesn't matter. And now I need to know what villain I'm going to do first, and then build a deck to go against it, which kind of stinks because a part of me still wants to figure out the one deck to rule them all, right? I want to make the perfect deck for Marvel Champions that could take on any villain. And I still want to build that deck. I don't think we're going to get there for a little while though, until the card pool gets bigger. But anyway, I want to know how you all approach deck building, right? Is it how I used to? And there's not like a right way or wrong way. I think I've just changed as a player and how I approach the game now. But were you how I used to be, where you start with your hero and you build out your hero and you lean into your hero's strengths and you go from there? Or do you focus on the villain more, right? Do you see what villain you're playing and then, okay, I build around to counteract what the villain does? Or if they have a lot of minions, right, get a lot of minion slaying cards. Or if they thwart a lot, focus on that, right? Like, how do you deck build and what's the way that you approach it? I'm really kind of interested in this because I think, and I guess I'll also mention too, I don't think those are the only two ways either. There might be like a hybrid approach or a different approach. Let me know down below. That's something I'm really interested in hearing, because I think that's one of the cool things about this game is that there are so many different ways to approach it, right? There is no right way. There is no wrong way. I think it's pretty cool and pretty neat in general. So anyway, let me know down below your thoughts on that. And yeah, so those are the 3 topics. Like I said, leave a comment down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit join if you're interested, all that fun stuff. And yeah, if you want me to ever make a video expanding on any one of these topics, let me know. Like I said, I'll probably do the deck building one in the future. But if you want a video on the other 2, I guess let me know. And we could probably do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.